Yes. Welcome back to the
Good
morning
morning.
connection. Yes,
Oh
he'll
my
keep in
goodness.
perfect peace whose mind is stayed on you. Isaiah 26, verse
Mm,
3. And we've been using that too. Some people are not at peace.
yeah. But
Young
what is
people,
peace?
yes.
What for you is peace, Percy? I had to learn.
Absence of turmoil.
I had to learn the new type of peace.
Okay. Go ahead, I'm listening.
Oh, the shalom peace of God.
It is
Nothing missing,
encompassing.
nothing broken. It
Encompassing.
means you're battling just the same. I used to think peace meant the absence of hostility,
It's not.
and it does not.
It is not.
It does not. And and the peace that we speak of really is not peaceful relations with man. You can indeed be in some very contentious human endeavors and relationships, but your peace really comes from your relationship with God. This is the thing I learned, that if I am at peace with God, meaning I have set myself in a place where I am not breaking any of his laws. I'm not transgressing against his laws. That's where my peace lies. My peace lies in being at ease in my relationship with my creator. And that relationship for me is exemplified by his principles, which guide my daily action. So he says, love your enemy. That means while I am fighting with you and it may be a struggle to the death, I am loving you same way.
And that is so counterintuitive to how we expect it
Yeah.
to be.
Yeah.
And really, it just blows my mind. So now,
Your
story.
mind is blown.
Yes, blows my mind. I once in my travels, um, we were at a conference together, and I met this lady, Australian by nature, but she's a missionary. She goes over the thing, um, pushing Bible engagement in schools and universities, and she was just relating to me um, this story of somebody that she met in a refugee camp. Because I think it was in Sudan or one of those places that seemed to be continually at war. And she met this gentleman, and she says, "How are you?" She was there complaining, saying she didn't have water and all of the things that somebody coming from a Western, considers basic. And he says, "Oh, how are you today?" And he says, "I am good. I am at peace with God." He's saying that in a refugee camp where he don't know where his next meal is coming from, with all of the things that you were seeing. And she said it just pushed her back on her heels. Because here she was complaining about all of the things that she never had. And this guy was just at peace and walking in the shalom, because he knew, as you have said, he's in relationship with God. So therefore, I'm at peace with everything that is happening round about.
Yes, sir. Thank you for that story.
Yeah, so it
Do you,
just,
do you have one of your own experience of peace in the storm?
oh yes, man. Right now,
You're
I'm
in a
at peace.
storm.
I am at peace. I am at peace.
You got your windbreaker out.
Yes.
Yeah, well, you know that life is just a series of storms. You finish one thing and another one is brewing. Because, fun fact, the devil doesn't take
Oh,
holidays.
it doesn't.
He doesn't rest. He doesn't get time off. He doesn't pull back and say, that one there looked like she could take a break now. If you find that there's a lull and he's not attacking you relentlessly on one front, that's because he's doing it somewhere that you're not looking.
Yeah.
Go look over there, sir, and you'll discover that in
Indeed.
another side of your family, all
Indeed.
hell is breaking loose.
Yeah.
And you need to send some troops over to that side, because sickness is assaulting some member of your family. Somebody have the police on their heel. Death is overwhelming another person. Before you know it, you're pulled in another direction. So he really doesn't rest. There's always a storm brewing. And that's why it is so important
To have peace.
for us to understand peace. When I was, uninformed, I really did think that certain tribulations and challenges meant that you were not enjoying God's favor. I really thought so. And I'm just expressing it now because persons listening to us may be of the same mindset, thinking that the fact that you are being harassed by a coworker or a supervisor in the job, and you are a good praying, tithing, fasting, minding God's business kind of believer,
And you still
means
are
that
it,
God is unjust and is not rewarding you for your effort. I've been there. I've looked and said, what more could I do to be obedient to my highest understanding of what's required of me?
Yeah.
Why am I in this one kind of harassment or another? Your peace is still there for you to take advantage of it, because your peace is not meant to be disturbed by the movements of man in their wickedness. It don't matter that police calling you because somebody made a false report. That event does not mean you've been abandoned
By
and
God.
left by God. No, you must head right down to the police station and begin to evangelize and convert the policeman. Yes.
You make it dig it, do. But
Yeah. No,
but
that's what you have to do.
But you remember, in the Acts of the Apostles,
Hmm.
when Paul and Silas went to Philippi,
Yes.
and they were preaching, and
And wicked men came
No, the
to
one
stir up trouble.
You remember the one that they were preaching, and this girl was walking by them.
Yeah,
and
and
the
saying
psychic
these-
would call her and said, "These are
these
men
are
of
men
God,
of
obey
God."
them." And she did it for a couple of days, and then Paul said, "In the
Enough.
name of Jesus, come
Come
out of her." And the
Yeah.
spirit just departed in an instant.
And she was an income earning psychic
Yeah,
for
you
somebody else.
understand?
So
And-
it mash up somebody's economy right there.
And them said, "What you do?" And then beat them,
And
carry
then-
them,
yeah.
and they were beaten and put in prison.
Yes.
And in the middle of that, them they're praising God.
Absolutely. And it impressed the
Praise
jailers.
And, say thing. And then the praise got caused an earthquake to happen. And it
So do you see all that you're saying, shows how if you are of the right mind, each trial and tribulation escalate you, push you to a higher level of performance,
Yeah.
and it keeps getting till it reach an earthquake.
did it reach an earthquake.
Yeah.
Did it-
So follow
did it
me.
deliverance, yeah.
Follow me with this now.
Follow you?
Yes,
I
follow back
on
on
you
me
this morning.
with this, because we are living testimony of how God can move you from one situation that looked terrible to another situation where something even worse happened. But at each point of it, He's being glorified in a magnificent way.
Yeah, because
As long as you take your pain out of it and don't focus on what's happening with you. If I were to use myself as an example, and forgive me for this, but it's not pretty story, so it can work. It's not vanity. When I was headlined as a
you were the
schemer,
headliner. You were the headliner.
yes, when I was headlined as a schemer and a thief, basically, I had the option of just turning my back on, like you could just go into a place of isolation and silence. I had a conversation with my maker. You've given me talent and experience. I know what has happened to me. I don't deserve it. But if you permit it, it must mean there's something better I can do
Greater.
with the skills you have given me. And I came to teach on constitutional rights during pandemic time. Out of that, you and I
Reconnected.
came to do this.
Reconnected.
Right. We've been sitting here pushing at the different things, and the issue of corruption was so persistent in the conversations
With everybody called
that as a radio program, we decided we are going to
integrity.
make our own submission on behalf of our listeners to the Joint Select Committee of Parliament. And I would say we boldly put together what we were pulling from the heart of the people. And you, me, our producer, made the journey to Gordon House. And the things we said, I'm telling you, Percy, when we left Gordon House and I went home, I was sick for the rest of the day. I didn't tell you that. Did I tell you?
Yeah, you said it. You said
I had a very peculiar reaction to that place. And I've been there before, but I'd never been there on this kind of mission.
You went
And
into
those
the-
who watched it on the JIS or whatever the thing is, I remember one caller saying to us, "Oh, Miss Minette," the people were enraged. Out of that visit, and I'm calling it as I see it, and I hope you agree with me. Look at what has happened with the Integrity Commission and the government coming head to head to the point now where 6 reports
reach a government and they can't release it.
Remember
hold on to it?
yes.
What you say?
But
one of the things we spoke about was the gag order.
the other thing that makes me look at it and point it out as one of the ways in which, if you take your pain and your shame and you channel it into work that will glorify God and bring a release to your own nation, you will see God responding and moving the hearts of men in a particular direction. The Integrity Commission has published today their process on tabling their reports to show you that there is no reason why a report that is tabled that is delivered on the 20th, we should only be getting word of it maybe on the 30th, because it don't have to happen, you know. There's nothing in the law that says reports must be tabled within 48 hours, which obviously look like you need something like that. Integrity Commission says in submitting their reports, they are mindful that Parliament has 3 main functionaries: the clerk of the houses, the Speaker of the House, and the President of the Senate. When their reports are ready, they create 3 separate packages addressed to each functionary.
So the clerk of the house,
The clerk gets, the President of the Senate gets,
and the speaker,
and the Speaker of the House get same time. And you're telling me now that having delivered their packages to 3 separate
on the 20th of June. Let's make that clear. The 20th
on
of
the
June.
20th of June,
Yes.
maybe we'll see it tabled on the 30th of June. The Integrity Commission is showing that obviously those who have the responsibility to literally put it on the table in Parliament, all 3 of them have been derelict
In their duty.
in their duty. They're making it clear that I didn't just send it to one person who have to go and make photocopies so everybody can get it. No. They make in great detail, they say 3 copies of each report in every case.
That they made 18 copies.
Yeah.
So for everybody, 18.
Addressed and delivered with cover letter jointly addressed. So what it means now is when the cover letter is addressed to Minette, Lowell, and Percy,
It's
when
CC to
Percy
that
get
of
it, you know that Minette and Lowell also got it. So they must be working in some kind of consensus that nobody,
Release it.
yeah, or they must have, this is the conspiracy that they should be pursuing, or they must have established a hierarchy amongst themselves where the clerk dare not put it out first. Although you would think that the clerk carrying out the clerical duties would be the one to automatically table it. So it's there for the next meeting. You might hear, if the clerk were to speak, you might hear that, oh, I tabled it, but the members refused to look at it, or it was not put on the agenda, or it was, you understand? We are learning a little bit more, and this is why transparency
Is
in
important.
our affairs is so
And
important.
accountability.
Yeah.
It's-
So the Integrity Commission has, and they even go further, you know, they said that they give electronic copies as well.
so we can go
A
hack
thumb
it.
drive with an electronic copy of the items in 3 and 4, the packages. They say too that they have established, this is their protocol. If there's an investigation and an indicative ruling, they set it so that the report is delivered before the ruling. So the other day when there was the hoopla about why the ruling on the Prime Minister's matter
They said
came
that-
after,
They said that's how we do it.
that's how it is done. And the reason it's done that way is so you never have the impression that it's all a wash.
You know,
The nation must know that there was a matter It was investigated. And after the investigation and due consideration of the findings, a ruling was made. So you get the two separately.
You know, let's just backtrack now. Let's go back 2-3 weeks, probably even a month,
Yeah.
when they wanted to have the Joint Select Committee meet in camera without. All right. So that's the first shot, as the first salvo. But it don't have their way because people say, no, 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 no. Why the others are open and this one? So they try that, don't happen. Then we hear that we have 2 new senators.
And one is a fiery journalist.
Right. And
Huge
one
media connection.
And one is going to drive the digitalization and skills. That's the doctor lady. The gentleman in his opening salvo, it's his maiden speech,
His maiden run.
fires a salvo, a broadside in war, saying, you know, it's a toxic environment there.
And the Integrity Commission is partisan.
Yeah.
In it has a bias against the
And
government.
then on top of it, these people are they're in civil law, they don't understand criminal law. That somebody had to say to him, really? That is where you're going? That is what you come here to do? And then in terms of your experience with him, you say, no, man. Hearsay and things that can't stand. No, after that happens, and the Cascas, remember the Cascas and somebody said, back off it, But even with that from the maximum leader, they still continue to do that. And then out of the blue, not out of the blue, it's not out of the blue. On the weekend, we hear the director of public prosecution, who would be the person to
whom these things
would
maybe,
go, is saying,
hold on a minute. Maybe she spoke so she could be recused. She show her bias, so you don't have to come to her.
Say that,
Not possible.
Right, so. Okay, we break at that point in time. But
yes, we're 2 minutes past 7:30.
But we just have to follow the chain of events to break it off. Yeah. Trinidad and Tobago last night. Good morning. Welcome back to the Morning Connection. I was just saying off the air to those of us who did not know, Jamaica and Trinidad and Tobago met in the Gold Cup last night and they dust them out 4-1. Beat them
Is,
4-1.
is that the sporting way to speak of the victory?
Sporting way.
Yes.
Which one? Dust or beat? Are we demolish? You're
I'm
you're the
asking.
wordsmith.
Well, I'm asking. I thought that one of the hallmarks of
Good sportsmanship.
good
We
sportsmanship
defeated them
is to be respectful
of your
in
opponent.
claiming your victory. Because after all, today for you, tomorrow for me. But I see a young man being celebrated because he
Was his
he
birthday.
scored a goal on his birthday.
He scored a
Is
brace, actually.
What's a brace?
Two goals.
Two
yeah.
goals.
The Marnie Gray. He switched
Yes.
from England to play for Jamaica.
Ah.
So he plays in the Premier League for one of the.
So he's a new player?
Yeah.
So not only did he celebrate his birthday phenomenally, but he also
Celebrated the switching of allegiance
Of a-
from the motherland to,
yes.
to the motherland. That's why it's called.
So let me ask now, was he a goal scorer
yeah, he's a
for
goal
the motherland?
scorer. Yeah, he was. It's interesting that he played the under 18, under 19 was called up, but
Yeah.
he never went. So he said, you know what? This don't look like I can go anywhere with all of these young talents, the Sackers and everything. Let me go play for Jamaica. I think a better chance there of representing and
That's
playing at the
beautiful.
World Cup. So
Yeah.
we celebrated them. But back to where we are at. You
Yes.
can't miss that one day. It's boy. I was tying the dots together in terms of the
One day you have to show me how you tie dots.
or connect the dots.
Connecting the dots.
Tie the knots. I did not tie the knots or connect the dots.
Connect the dots.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
it's
I
not.
did.
Everything is now in plain view, because the series of events that have happened over time, and then we never ever spoke about the polls.
Oh,
We
that
never
was it.
spoke
No,
about the
we still
poll.
have time. We still have time.
We never
We spoke
about.
about it a little bit because you were talking about Blue Dot.
Yeah.
How the reliance on Blue Dot and then the silence, because I'm sure Blue Dot, if you're using such a sophisticated weapon, you must be utilizing it quietly in the background all the time.
Yeah.
And it's not only for the big announcement, it must be to adjust your strategy on the ground.
what you're doing.
So yeah, if you're serious about what you're doing, you should be polling the population all the time and tweaking your strategy on the ground so that you make the gains that's required. And they have the money to do it.
They have the money to
Party in power can always
do those things. But the truth
afford
is,
those things, and the cost to retain power is something you just have to bite your teeth and bear it, because if you don't make that expenditure, then you'll be out. And when you're out and you're in opposition, you become target number one, because like it or not, that is still a very healthy part of our politics. That once the administration changes at section, and all I'm saying now to the PNP as you position yourself to take power, please do not spend more than, there must be a ratio that you observe, that you say, off my budget, I will spend 2% calming and cleaning out those that I don't want to see. You know, the Egyptians you see today, you will see no more. There must be a percentage of your budget that you reserve to deal with those Egyptians.
or
Don't spend 98% of your time trying
Running
to
down and-
chase down your enemies. And while you're doing that, the nation
allow
will
the
suffer.
corruption integrity commission
To do its work.
That's all you need to do.
Absolutely. You have
That's
an
all-
agency that you set up to do it, empower them, give them the resources, let them do their work.
And let them
I'm just saying that because we tend to spend way too much time
And witch
chasing, hunting down the enemy. When you read the Bible, you see how many times you read of one king take power, and the first thing him do is
Wipe
kill all
out
of
the
them brother and
sister
sisters.
them.
Oh.
And one person tries to do
and
it.
there's always one person who gets spirited away.
I
And
mean, with Josiah, and the
always,
you remember that?
always.
The Queen
Yeah.
Mother, say kill off all of them, but then some people held him,
Took a baby
them,
and
then the
yeah.
priest come and say, okay, time come.
Yeah.
And she said, treason, treason, and them just kill her.
Yeah. And even not just amongst the Jews, but even amongst the pagans.
Everybody.
Because the
That's
grandson, Nebuchadnezzar's great grandson or whatever, who came out of the dark and took over.
Same
That's
thing.
what was his situation. He was spirited away so that he wouldn't be destroyed as a potential threat to the throne. So we know that from ancient times, that is the strategy which man deploy in government. When you take power, you spend more time than you need to trying to kill the threats in the egg. Do not spend too much time on it. But it would be a government that understands God and the way of God, that would understand that every battle, as you were saying this morning, every thought that rises up in contradiction or as a challenge to the will of God must be laid low. You bring it into subjection. If you take power on principles that are in alignment with the justice, the righteousness, the truth of God, you don't have to worry about your enemy who is out there in the boondocks eating grass. You don't have to spend your time and the resources of the people hunting them down and trying to make sure that, there's nobody to threaten you. Do your job of running the nation. So you see, we start to speak prophetically to the new government.
But I remember last week we were talking about the law of the Medes and the Persians. You remember that?
Yes.
And I pointed to the fact that the law of the Medes and the Persians, you couldn't just arbitrarily, willy-nilly come in and just change
policy.
And whoever continues when the next election cycle, we have to come to a place as a nation where there are some things that we recognize for it to bear the harvest that we need. And the harvest is the thriving and the flourishing of everybody in Jamaica. There are some things we just have to do. We just have to fix. We have to fix what is happening in our education system seriously. We can twiddle and set up a commission to do something and then we not implement it, even though we have agreed that this is so. You do a commission and you spend all of this money. It comes up with findings, which in itself is just reflective of what was said by the Ray Davis Task Force on Education under PJ Pat. So a lot of the things when you look at those reports, it's the same issues. But we have not, in a wholesome way, done what we need to do. We have to pay attention to what's happening at early childhood. We have to fix that. And a lot of the problems now that we have later on in terms of our children not being well stimulated in the early years is when the personality is being, we have to fix it. And it means we have to put our best resources at that level and then everything else will fix itself. So when the law, the Medes and the Persian, and we agree in the covenant, this brings in constitutional reform where we need to go. That most people didn't know it until we looked and highlighted it, that the Constitution only guarantee education up to grade 6.
You said there's about 12, 13.
All age would be up to 15, but it's only in the Constitution it actually says age 12. So why we talking about secondary education being free, where we don't put in the ramifications that that means? Those are the things we need to do. So even though
Welcome to Jason, who's visiting us on set. Good morning, Jason. All right, so okay, so fun fact. On Thursday mornings, we are sponsored by JD's Urban Pub, the finest dining establishment in the heart of New Kingston. They take care of food at Ligani Club. And we have been trying for 2 years to get Jason Del Valle to sit in the chair and give us some of his secrets. And he's actually, he doesn't like sitting. We'd have to lift the camera and so he could stand. But thank you for visiting us, Mr.
Jason,
JD.
sit down for 5 minutes now, boss. Not even a minute.
He's a chef. He's needed in the kitchen.
You need to
But
have your own reality.
yeah,
Even
so
though I have a face made for radio, but
A face made for
made
radio.
for
Radio. I
radio.
love that.
Giving us holy chatter off camera.
Off camera.
Yeah, but if you're in the New Kingston area and lunch or breakfast or dinner,
yeah.
or if you have a special event, let me tell you, the gardens of the Ligony Club are beautiful for outdoor dining. Yeah, visit us. And on Thursday mornings, we're here. You know what? We should do like a breakfast.
And invite everyone.
Yeah, one Thursday morning and just invite
And
and
many of the listeners who want to
yeah,
come.
yeah.
But then we have to
Yeah, no, we have to
pre-register
save up our money and cater
pre-register
the breakfast. You
and
know.
say, come to
Yeah.
the regular listeners.
Do coffee at the morning
That means
connection with the
people,
morning connection.
supposed people
or
say they're coming
something.
in from Westmoreland or
They'd have to drive
Manchester.
all night. So we start here at 6.
They'd have to drive all night. Oh man, breakfast that.
No, but the
breakfast not
Ligony
before
Club
eight.
has rooms because it's also a
Yeah, accommodation.
yeah, accommodations are included. So yeah, if you want to join us, the producer hasn't heard it yet, you know, what we're planning. Percival and I are thinking we should cater a breakfast for some of our
Regular.
listeners. And
That's what we say. I have to save up our money. That's
Save
what
up our money.
and cater.
and have JD's cater breakfast for the morning connection listeners. And then just let them come. Yes. Yeah, that's true. The producer is gonna do a bowl of fruits.
Oh, on the front.
Yes, so we can show off the beauty of Jamaica. But the Ligony Club is really a beautiful place to stay. It has the home away from home quality in the sense that, you know, it's not your concrete jungle type of
No, it is
hotel
very-
facilities.
huh?
And we have excellent parking in the heart of New Kingston, so it's not difficult to get to. We have 8 tennis courts, 6 squash courts, a large size swimming pool, a full service gymnasium. Who uses the word gymnasium anymore?
You do. I do. Gym.
You do? Gym. A full service gym, walking trails. Well, mango season is
complete.
rebounding. But the whole leap of mango trees. Some of the most delicious mangoes.
And the
And
main-
the producer
and the
is up there reminding me that there's a cherry tree, a soursop tree. What else? Lots of lignum vitae trees. If you have never seen a lignum vitae tree,
You can come.
this is the place. Almonds. Oh my goodness.
Almond
Lots
trees.
of almond trees. Lots and lots of almond trees. Great place for a destination wedding if you really want to, you know. And
do that.
it's small enough to be intimate and just really comfortable. We love being here on Thursday mornings.
Yeah.
We-
and if
we
you
really
do
do.
destination wedding, I can do the
Oh,
pastoring.
look at that. Yes. We have our own pastor and JP.
So that
Oh my goodness, Pastor, let me ask you a question here now.
Yes, ma'am.
Are you amongst the justices of the peace who are saying when the republic is established, JPs want to continue? I don't know what they would call them because they could be called justices of the peace.
Yeah,
But
I think
because they take their lineage
Out
from
of
the
the
colonial architecture.
but all right. I think
Who you report to? The Custos?
the Custos and the Custos
And the
report
Custos to the Governor General.
But in terms of the function,
Man, enough said, you're gone. Once the Governor General goes, his acolytes will go. We have to go call you something else.
public notary.
Or a public notary, he says. Or
No,
call
but
you a,
they-
call
no,
you a
but-
piece of public.
The peace of the republic,
The
republic
piece of
peace,
the republic.
the public peace.
Yes.
No, but the function that we serve, it is a very important one.
What function is that precisely?
You keep the peace.
How do you
You
keep
have
the
to-
peace?
you have
Except for
to-
the peace you keep on set.
No, we don't mean so. You bring things to resolution. People
But you're
look
not
up the,
really being permitted to. And the way they've kind of watered it down by creating national justices, you keep peace nationally? Not even the police is managing that. And they have guns.
I don't need guns to bring about peace.
No, I'm saying they are not even managing it and them have enforcement tools.
Me here, yes.
What you have?
I have the peace of God that surpasses all understanding, and I go into the situations with that power
All right, so you need to be a justice of God peace, because the other justices, 4,000 of them, the minister couldn't find
He
when
find
last
them, man.
he
He
found
find
them.
them. He find them.
Where were they?
You know why I couldn't find them? Yes, because
He found them, but
you're
he didn't.
supposed to.
You're
You're supposed
supposed
to
to say
report.
rejoice. You're supposed to rejoice. Say rejoice with me. I found my sheep. How come he didn't announce
No,
what was
because
happening?
there's a
Why were so
reporting
many?
mechanism that you have to do at the end of the year in terms of
Yes,
following up at it. And some of the people just
never bother report.
not bother report.
And then what did he do to smoke him out?
I don't know what he did, but I think they're there.
Because
And then he just
or
get
he
the
just
report.
canceled. Or he
He
canceled their
can't cancel. He
commission.
can't cancel the commission.
And then when they realized that they are commissionless, they came forth.
But I think they're there. You say you can't find 4,000, the people are there.
Well,
But
so-
you know, if I'm going overseas, I have to notify the customs that I'm going, and even possibly leave my seal there when I come back. I collect it.
Yes, just like your gun. It have power. And it need to be not your gun. I don't know if you have one.
Gun.
Let me say it on public radio.
No, me not have no gun.
So you know, I've been clear.
I have no gun.
If,
I have a M66 though.
yeah.
I have a M66.
What is that, Mark?
No,
The book of Mark?
The Bible. M66, 66 books.
Oh, so
All
why
of
is
them
it
are
M?
M.
Yeah, why is it M?
I didn't have M16.
I thought
and
it was
M,
in
and
the.
M. Yeah, and all
It was
these
in the
other
book of
things.
Mark. No, but I want to say something about the that is a question, and I do want listeners to think of it and give their response. The justices have come forward to say, in the Republic, please keep us. We still want our jobs. And it then invites the question, under what structure would those justices remain? Not to say it's impossible, but the first logical response to it is that agents of the crown go with the crown.
So now we become agents of the Republic.
Yes, but under what now would be your focus? And here's why I'm saying it. There was a time when the justice of the peace was a very important part of a community, largely because the justice tended to be the one with the most money or land, the one who was best educated or most influential, however you. And so that person became like the touch point for interactions between the community and the state. The police know them, the politicians know them. Usually they have a house that can accommodate visitors to the community, state visitors, that is.
Oh, that's what it was?
Yeah, if the MP is visiting, he would locate himself somewhere. And they were politically connected. And I'm speaking from the perspective of somebody with rural
Connection.
anchors, right? But even you as a national JP, meaning you're not limited to, your commission extends beyond your actual community or parish.
Correct.
What are the services you can usefully provide? Because the JP's great strength was his knowledge of
the community,
people and
the
community
community.
happenings. If you don't have that knowledge, let's say, for example, and I think that has actually happened, somebody you know asks you to certify a photo of a family member whom you don't know. Applying the core principles, you would say no, because you don't know the person.
You can't, but the certifying of the picture would be a problem. The certifying of a document, it says you have no, like passport, you have to know this person for many years.
Okay.
So you can't, because you're just saying that this is
Yeah.
a picture of the person. What is their
Right,
name? Their
right.
identification,
Yeah.
they certify.
But the person who like a passport form,
Yeah, this
that
become difficult.
depends on somebody who know you.
Yeah, right. And that has come to me in the past,
Yeah.
where somebody said, I know Minette, but Minette asking me to sign passport
For her
Lowell.
husband,
And I said,
yeah.
boy, I
But
would
me no
love
know-
to do
me no know Lowell.
I would love to do it,
Yeah.
but I can't, because remember, and I tell people all the time, the only thing I have really is my integrity. And
So I'm asking you now, how practical is a JP when his strength is personal knowledge, but his remit exceeds the jurisdiction of his personal knowledge?
well, I
Why-
tell you, know
how
people all
useful?
over the place. It works. I can't.
Yeah,
but that is me.
but in a parochial setting,
it doesn't work.
It don't work.
It don't work. It don't work. You
don't
raise
work.
an important point.
So, if we are keeping JPs, justices of the peace, in the republic, the whole system needs to be revamped so that it becomes a resource that is truly relevant to how people are living and moving and working in the republic.
In the republic.
So I saw the appeal, let's keep the JPs, and I want to know, when we are asking the questions and interacting with the public, what's the usefulness of a justice of the peace? When we keep them, if we keep them, what should they be doing and how do we monitor? And should it be now like a paid position where you could even
but you know,
you can apply to be a JP or be voted in as a JP? Where do they fit?
yeah. But
Yeah.
it volunteer because like interestingly, you get a seal, which is the state supplies it.
And that's about all you get from the state. You
Yeah.
don't get paper and printing and transportation.
And then you have all of these other
All
things
right,
that
we're
make-
at the 8 o'clock hour. Please remember that in the next segment, we're going to have our JPS guest, and we'll tell you a little bit more about who's coming. One of our favorites is coming, and we're looking forward to that segment. So stay with us. We're going to be right back. This is The Morning Connection.
Best 100 FM is the authentic voice of Jamaica, promoting your prosperity with better vibes and better music. Let us promote your goods and services for you. Advertise with us. For more information, call our office at 876-276-8935. That's 276-8935.
This is your beloved Pastor Percy from The Morning Connection. Support our commitment to Jamaica by joining us on Wednesday mornings at 7:30 when we pray for the nation. Show us you care. Advertise with us. For more information, call our offices at 876-276-8935.
Yes, we're back. We are back. All right. So during the break, I took a look at the submissions that we had made to Parliament because I was charting our journey from, zero to wherever we are now and using it as an example of how you can operate in peace during a time of upset, disappointment, pain, horror, and how God will use the person who keeps their mind stayed on Him to accomplish various things.
Accomplish His
And
purpose.
Percy and I did a little journey from our coming together during COVID time to teach and to speak on matters of the kingdom and personal rights and freedoms and, all that constitutional rights, all the things that we felt that the nation needed to get a better grasp of during the period of the pandemic. And out of it, we started the morning connection. And, well, we didn't start it. We inherited the chair.
Yes, yeah.
Best, yeah, I can never say enough about Best FM's foresight and character, the character of the leadership, to allow persons like Percival and myself to do this because,
Never have any radio experience.
well, aside from not having radio experience, but there are many persons who don't invest in faith-based businesses or proposals.
Or commentaries or whatever.
Yeah, they don't see it as having any prospect of great commercial return for one reason or another, unless you are a radio that come out of a church and it's just a part of your ministry and you're not looking to it for any financial reward.
Doesn't say that we're not looking for people to sponsor the.
No, I'm coming to that.
Okay.
I'm coming to that because the very nature of what we do requires that it is a person's heart that has to be moved to see the value, the long-term value in a nation being discipled. The discipling of a nation is really the changing of mindsets, the breaking down of bad habits and strongholds that enslave us and keep us from really growing. And
Fulfilling. Yes.
growth is what
We need.
drives an economy.
Yeah. Real
All
growth.
the time we hear it.
Flourishing. And
Not
the growth that is just GDP, the growth that is
Yeah.
in the human side because
that's what drives the GDP.
Yeah, real growth and change in people's lives and their flourishing and their prosperity. But it begins with a change in mindset.
Yeah. And that's what this program is about. So for someone to see the potential for a program to address some of those issues and painstakingly try to move the nation from one low place to a higher place, hey, I lift my hat to Mr. Tony Shaw and the Best FM team and the family of listeners who stay connected to the program, even when, like Earl Brown, who I haven't seen him say hello. Earl is in California waking up at some ungodly hour to be with us. And I appreciate that.
Or
It
those
just
guys
makes
were
me
in
feel
England, those guys were in Canada.
Yeah.
USA.
Right. So it made me go back to the submission we had made to Parliament, to the Joint Select Committee of Parliament, and to pick on just one thread of it that I see yielding some return right now and want to encourage listeners to press for more, the Integrity Commission to push harder at what you're doing. And as things break open, may the peace of God sustain us. All right. So the Integrity Commission has responsibility for the functions under 3 pieces of legislation: the Integrity Commission Act, the Protected Disclosures Act that we call the Whistleblowing Act, and the Corruption Prevention Act. 3. If you amend the Integrity Commission Act and you don't amend the Protected Disclosures Act and the Corruption Prevention Act, you create a stalemate.
Okay.
So all 3 pieces of legislation must be worked on together. So I'm saying it now, please, do not do half a job or 1/3 of a job.
All the way, go full
Go
100.
full 100, yes. Okay, so that was the first thing. We spoke about that. The second thing is that the Integrity Commission Act, as it stands now, states as one of its objectives to enhance public confidence. That's you and me, the public, need to be confident that acts of corruption and impropriety committed by persons exercising public functions will be appropriately investigated and dealt with in a manner which achieves transparency, accountability, and fairness. How great is that? That's the objective, which means that the Integrity Commission itself must have a system in place to show us how they are addressing this particular objective.
Right.
This morning, they have come out with a detailed breakdown of how they deliver their report so it can be tabled in Parliament. That knowledge, once in the public domain, allow us as public to test
evaluate
the different points of weakness. So we know whether is the clerk of the House, is the president of the Senate,
Or the speaker.
or the speaker of the House.
Parliament.
Where is it failing?
So now, when they have gone to press with that, because I remember, somebody would say, no, touch my can, because if me touch my can, you're going to see. And I remember the chairman
Yes.
had said, guys, you remember he said it, the lies and the thing, we're going to deal with it. Let the truth be spoken. And that's what they're doing.
Yes.
Let the truth be spoken. So when people come and cast innuendos or speak half-truths, it will die, because this is what it is. So people can now really evaluate. And so I like what they've done.
Yes, man. They're point by point. If you want to know how they carry out that part of the function, it is there. So now, we had called on the Integrity Commission to publish, let us know their methodology and process. And we wanted to be satisfied that the infrastructure to accomplish the objective is known. Reading straight from the submission, this is a laudable and necessary objective. However, the infrastructure, process, and the methodology for achieving this objective is either non-existent or undisclosed.
No, it is disclosed.
As a consequence, the opposite effect is achieved, meaning we don't get confident, we become suspicious and paranoid. They're clearing the air.
Yes,
now they have disclosed something about their process, which has allowed us as John Public to intuit that when there is a breakdown, it is occurring at one of 3 points.
Or Jane
and
Public.
or no, like when it's this kind of thing is John. Jane sends John forward.
It's not you.
And said, John,
You got to even that.
you
at
go
the-
find out what's going
No,
on
but, you know.
down the garden house.
But
So,
don't forget
yeah.
this, though,
That's how you get
in
transparency.
The, in the cartoons, it is always Jane Public. Remember
Oh,
that?
yes,
And
Madame Public,
yes,
is that?
Madame Public says Jane Public, yes.
Yeah. Another point we had made is we were addressing the independence of the Integrity Commission. When you operate, and this is proof positive too, when you operate as a commission of Parliament and you can only speak after something is tabled in Parliament, all they need to do is refuse to table it. And that's another point we were making, that the level of independence required to allow the Integrity Commission to function, they should only be answerable to the Constitutional Court if such a court were to be permanently set up. So they should be, the Integrity Commission is one of the agencies that should be hardwired into the Constitution. Like how the DPP is there, the Integrity Commission should be there.
And that's what we push for.
Not as a commission of Parliament that must report to Parliament in the way it currently does, but one that has independence, can set their own procedures and structures, report to the public as they see fit, and cannot be interfered with by parliamentarians who have an axe to grind. And we see it being played out now. And in our submission, we address that very, very point. Because there's an inherent conflict of interest in restricting the commission to a direct single-line report to the very body whose ethical conduct it is established to investigate and monitor, their independence is compromised. And you see what happened? They sent their report to Parliament, and Parliament not table it.
That's why
And while not tabling it, they are fighting them tooth and nail. Everywhere you look, somebody's denigrating the Integrity Commission in how they carry out their functions.
And I think the Director of Public Prosecution, whose function is, she's a creature. Oh, it go again. Repeat. The Director of Public Prosecution is a creature of Parliament, so she can prosecute independent of whatever anybody.
Yeah, she's in the Constitution. The office is enshrined in the Constitution.
And now with what we see playing out in the public domain,
the Integrity Commission
must be.
The Integrity Commission, the Electoral Office. There are some structures, some agents of government that need to be in the Constitution. They don't depend on political will in order to carry out their functions. I'm looking back at this too, In our submissions, we had said it should not be necessary for individuals to sign or consent to being bound by the codes of conduct promulgated by the Integrity Commission. In the Act, it says that they have the power to prepare codes of conduct and other advisory material for public bodies. These areas of the Act, these powers in the Act should be fully codified in published procedures and timelines so that citizens can track and measure accountability. Codes of conduct should carry the weight of law as subsidiary legislation and remove the prevailing uncertainties as to the effect of certain administrative breaches or illegal conduct. This was being written some time ago. Yeah.
It's the same thing.
And we're seeing it being played out now, where the Integrity Commission boldly presented codes of conduct and parliamentarians, especially government ministers, are looking at it askance as if it don't matter. And the Prime Minister has come out to say, that they are the highest power in the land and therefore they must self-regulate. They must set their own codes.
That's why the Integrity Commission must be independent.
Has to be, because right now our own Prime Minister is shaping up to write them out of existence. I want him to try.
You tell him Sefe?
No.
Sefe?
No, but you see, the people need to be stirred up.
Educated, yeah.
To demand and retain the things which matter. So that stirring up will only take place if somebody get very heavy-handed and people say, no. It was okay when you did so and so. But you see, when you got this far now, we draw the line. So
because
a line has to be drawn.
As you say that, some people, history repeats itself. And you see signs along the way. Like you're on a road going somewhere and you see these signposts and you say, but if you continue that way, you're going to get into problems.
Look who's in the house.
And somebody has said, you remember Enlightened, calling out Enlightened, called early in the year and said, let me ask you one question. Why is it that the government is giving so much resources to the army and not to the police? You remember that question that he asked?
Yes.
Yeah, and some people have commented to say, no, the way that we're going to look like we're going the way that other countries have gone. So it's interesting.
I'm looking back at the submissions which were made. I feel like maybe on Monday we could just go back over them and remind people of what it is that you told us, which we presented, so that as the debate continues, because the debate is going to get even more rabid in days to come. Wow. So, I'm scheduled I'll be watching the news, Percival, and sending you prayers as you deal with the issues, because I will be away for more than a week come next Tuesday.
That was 2 days.
It will feel like 2 days, don't worry.
No, but you talk about going away. Two of my daughters are going away. I mean, they are migrating.
Oh, leaving the
Family.
country?
Yeah, they're gone. One leaves today. And the other one leaves on Sunday. Which-
Never mind, Papa. What's happening?
Oh Lord. Oh Lord, oh Lord, oh Lord. But you know, you never see smoke without fire, you know that?
Yes.
I was just wondering why is it that the Prime Minister was going on the way it was going on. It looked like he became unhinged in terms of his presentation to Parliament. And I'm
Percy is
going
the
on.
first you use a word that just tickled me like that. Percy said it seemed like he became unhinged.
No, it's serious.
It is possible. It is possible. All right. We're gonna take our break in a few minutes. But one of our very, very, very highly favored individuals from JPS is gonna be in the next segment with us. We're always pleased to see Winsome Callum. Percy and I have a fight over who know her.
I'm not
What
in
was
a
it?
fight.
Who know her better? Who know her longer?
I am not in a fight.
Oh, you've conceded.
No, I'm not in a fight. Oh, why would I fight a beautiful lady? I'm a lover, not a fighter. Come on.
Oh, your son is so right.
Yes.
Anyway, the long and short of it is both Percy and I know her from way back and are delighted each time she's on the show with us. So I am just making sure that I give you,
The polls are coming.
and making sure I give you her proper name. Not her proper name, her proper title.
Director of Corporate
Yes,
Communications.
Winsome Callum, Director, Corporate Communications. The issue now, when Winsome come in, the talk gets to a whole new level. According to climate scientists, 2023 could be the hottest year on record globally, and we certainly are feeling it in Jamaica. So this week, she's going to be sharing with us tips on how to get the most out of the refrigerator. I hope that includes some money, Miss Winsome, because you only get out of your refrigerator what you put in it. Some money. Put something in the refrigerator, as well as tips on staying cool while controlling your expenditure on the light bill.
Yeah.
So when we come back after the 8:30 break, Miss Winsome will be with us. And what does Percy want to say? Breaking news?
No, just yesterday,
Yes.
was laid to rest, Lascelles Chin,
Yeah.
the Jamaican man who did us well. Yeah, I know it's not still, but
But you see, because Percy does funerals, that kind of thing is, yeah. I was avoiding it because I was avoiding it, but
yeah, I did have,
in the
yeah.
as we are wrapping up, we can close on a somber note.
Yeah.
All right, so we're taking our break now? Okay.
Best 100 FM is the authentic voice of Jamaica, promoting your prosperity with better vibes and better music. Let us promote your goods and services for you. Advertise with us. For more information, call our office at 876-276-8935. That's 276-8935.
This is your beloved Pastor Percy from the Morning Connection. Support our commitment to Jamaica by joining us on Wednesday mornings at 7:30 when we pray for the nation. Show us you care. Advertise with us. For more information, call our offices at 876-276-8935.
Good morning and welcome back. Well, I did warn you. Winsome is a hands-down favorite on this set. Both Percival and I have known her in our prior lives, and she is an expert in her field. She is the director of corporate communications for the very fortunate JPS company. And believe me, if Winsome were to tell you how long she's been doing that job, you would accuse JPS of child labor. Something that we are all frowning on these days. Welcome, Winsome. Yes, hold on, you're not running on child labor.
Yes, and speaking of child labor, I've been with JPS. Well, JPS is 100 years next year.
I know Winsome, the start at the 100
And I've
years,
been there
boy.
for maybe 1/4 of those
Hey,
100.
Even 5 years.
that's respectable.
Just over about 26.
Yeah,
That's a long time.
that is amazing.
You're
But
right. I started really young.
it says more about you, really, than it does about JPS, to be honest. It meant you started really young. It also meant that you honed and perfected your craft such that you're still, I guess you have a choice when to leave.
And yeah, it's interesting because I joined just before privatization, and I think now I'm probably on my 5th or 6th CEO, because we've had several
Yes.
CEOs since privatization. So, we give thanks.
So when the new CEO comes, they just come straight to you.
Yes, and we have a new CEO now. I think you should meet him soon.
I did not know
His
that.
name is Steve Berberick, and he's just been in Jamaica maybe for about 3 to 4 weeks now.
Brand new.
So yeah, brand
He's
new.
coming from which country?
He's from the US.
Okay.
He has
Okay.
a very strong background in energy, especially renewable energy, and he's very anxious to hit the ground running.
Oh, well, we can help.
Oh, that's good. I don't think we have seen that out there in the press in terms of
It was announced.
I'm sure it was.
but
Percy and I are not great with following all that's
well,
in the
here's the
press.
deal. He's been doing quite a bit internally, just getting to meet with the staff, and just sort of communicating his vision and his goals for the organization. We'll have him externally talking to you guys and others.
Wow.
We look forward to that.
That is a commitment.
All right,
Thank you,
all
man.
right, all right.
You come bearing gifts. Your next run probably will be as a politician.
I don't think so.
Leave my friend alone.
No,
I don't
I
think
will
so. It's
serve from
emphatic.
behind the scenes.
Leave my friend alone. You see, I have to take up for you.
Thank you so much.
Yes,
And that's why you're ahead now.
Leave my friend alone.
But whenever you come to visit with us, one of the delights of your visit is that we get an opportunity to speak at a different level. The guys you send us, I shouldn't say guys, the professionals that you send us, they are very faithful, staying within their remit. But at your level, which is part visionary, part policy, we get a chance to push the envelope a little bit. This year, and you've come back, so that means you're not hating it. But this year is shaping up to be the hottest, so they say. How does that impact your planning and what you say to your customers?
Well, it's not even just a local thing. This is globally. We've seen prediction that this might actually be the hottest year on record. And as you know, that's because of a number of things happening: global warming, climate change. It's a problem that we have to deal with on a long-term basis as well as short-term, because the reasons for this global warming and the degradation of the environment, we have to deal with that.
Yes, and that's not going away.
It's not going away. So JPS is actually helping to play our part there with the tree planting, the adopt a mangrove, because these are the mitigation steps that we have to take right now.
And in a
for
small
our children.
island state.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. So that's what we're doing for the long term. But for now, like today,
Yes.
when the temperature is very high, we have to make sure that we have adequate food to meet the demand. And as we announced last week, we have seen the highest demand for electricity in history. As a matter of fact, on June 14, we hit a new peak demand of 675 megawatts in terms of people using electricity all at once. That's the highest we've had in history.
June 4 in your 100-year history.
Yeah.
June 14 peak.
Yes, absolute highest in
And when
history.
did you celebrate your 100th anniversary?
The actual date was the 25th of May.
Okay.
So we're in our 100th year now, and already we start making new history.
New records and things.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
June 14. We should check the temperatures worldwide on that day.
Yes, it was
to see if that's
pretty
really-
hot, and people were just making sure that they stay cool, and that's the conversation that we're having with our customers.
Yeah.
It is hot, and sometimes you have to make some decisions about what is more important to you at any point in time. So our customers chose to use the cooling devices, the fans and the ACs, and maybe use the refrigerator
a lot more. You're in and out, man, getting ice.
Right.
You can't keep up.
So what we want to say from the company's perspective is that we are able to meet the demand.
So that's the first thing.
We have
That's the good
adequate
news.
capacity. That's the good news. We have adequate capacity to meet the demand. And when I say capacity, we have enough generation on the island to meet more than 1,000 megawatts of demand in terms of installed capacity. So between JPS and the other companies that
Power
provide
producers.
the independent
Yes.
power producers, we do have adequate capacity, so we can meet the demand. On the customer's side, I know the first thing that people are going to say is the bill is going to go up.
So you have
And
layaway
the
plans?
bill-
Are you announcing a layaway plan?
Oh, that's creative.
Summer layaway with JPS.
That's really creative. But the bill doesn't have to go up. We've seen it, and there was a delightful
Do you mean
TikTok
Winsome?
video
There is
with a
world-
woman who
Yes.
said that her bill did not go up because of what she did. I mean, it was so refreshing to hear a customer sharing their own experience.
But can
she's
demand
actually-
go up and the bill not go up?
Yes, because well, here's what the demand
Give me
can
the
go
math.
up, but let's
Yes,
talk it through a
yes.
little bit. So you're on an individual level. You can choose to use different things, and your bill doesn't have to go up. How does that work? You decide what is more important for you right at this point in time.
No ironing of clothes.
Thank you. So there's some
It's too
things.
hot.
There's some things that you can choose not to be doing. For
Yeah.
example, the place hot. You have several people in the house. Instead of turning on multiple fans or multiple
yes.
AC units, you all just hang
Stay in one
together
room.
and have fun together as a family.
Yeah.
And there's one other thing that we've been encouraging people to do, especially people with children. Now is the time when you put more pressure on your fridge. You go in the fridge more often because
Yes.
every 2 minutes you
Somebody
want
needs-
something.
Yeah,
Take out the water out of the
So
fridge,
what,
the
we,
cooler.
what we're telling people to do, and it's actually
Yeah,
working,
man, I learned this from you
is
last year.
to
So I'll let you
have
say
your
it.
igloo with
The ice box.
ice on your kitchen counter.
Yes,
And
yeah.
for the children
Yeah, man.
especially, make sure that you have water in it, the little bottles
Yeah,
or whatever
right.
container of water. You have I mean,
Little
people
juice
are making their
bags.
bag juice, making their own bag juice, icicle, whatever
Whatever
it is, those
you're
little
using for
treats, just
cooling,
keep
yeah.
them there. And the children can go in as often
don't
as
have to go into the
Excellent
fridge.
idea.
without
They don't go
going
in the
into the fridge.
Yes.
And they're going to be at home now because school coming to an end
And no, you
tomorrow.
can't tell them to go outside.
Because
hot.
so they're going to
boil.
be inside.
They're gonna be
You're go-
inside.
So in choosing what you use now, it's not
Yeah.
about compromising your quality of life or your own comfort. You
prioritizing.
just decide what is important right now, what is
Yeah,
priority.
so for the very budget conscious consumer who cannot spend more than the 10,000 or the 5,000, you're saying shut down what's not priority and focus.
Absolutely.
Because your health at this point now
You
takes
have
priority.
to stay hydrated
Yeah.
and you have to stay cool. So there are little things you can do. You see those chargers that you leave plugged in, take them
Unplug
out.
them.
Just unplug them. You can also turn off the TV. I mean, there are people who've decided that I don't need to be watching TV right now. Let's play games. Let's read.
Play
So-
games to get hot and sweaty.
Not necessarily. Depends on the kind of game you're playing. Think about the board games that you just calmly sit around.
Or read a
and
book.
just read
For
a book.
goodness
So
sake.
people will need to adjust a little
Yeah.
bit, but it's not about compromising
Essential.
your quality of life.
So I'm just thinking, how many persons really know the dangers of heat stroke?
But that I don't believe is generally understood.
Yeah.
And,
Yes.
Because I don't want persons to take it lightly and think, no man, we'll just tough out the heat.
No,
Let
no,
it
no,
hot, but you keep going. It's
First
not
of
safe for your
all,
body.
make sure you're hydrated. And if you are responsible for the elderly or for young
Yes, and young
children,
children.
believe me, give special attention to them. And if the little children come to you every minute and want water, they need it because
Yes.
they are dehydrated. So that's very important. If you're outside, stay in the shade. Yes, the sun gives you very useful, very, very essential vitamin
Vitamin
D,
D.
but you do not need to be
Yeah.
in the direct rays of the sun. It's very important that you protect yourself, wear a hat, and just limit the time out. So most importantly, drink, and not coffee, not the sweet drinks,
Water.
but
Yeah.
water.
We are a high percentage of water. Our bodies, we really.
And it's critical
Yeah.
So one of the things that I want to remind persons that the AC doesn't have to stay on all night. One of the things that we recommend is that you put a timer on your AC and you do what we call the AC fan combo. So you have the fan running while the AC is on and the fan is circulating the cool air. When the AC goes off, when the room is adequately cooled, the AC goes off automatically because you're now asleep and you've set your timer. The fan will continue to keep the space cool. So most people, we say around about 2 o'clock in the morning, your AC can go off. Some, depending on where you live, it can go off earlier. So, and you don't have to be using all of that electricity unnecessarily.
So we're still experiencing cooler times as the night deepens.
Yes.
Because I'm not even sure. I wasn't sure that we are, because it seemed to me every time you crack your eye open, it's hot, hot, hot. I'm very determined to stay within my budget.
Feeling hot, hot, hot.
Yes, so
That is the
I
sound.
mean, yes, we rely heavily on the fan. And you're so right about being careful with the children. And the priority in the house needs to move along those lines, because all kinds of respiratory illnesses afflict you when your body overheat, and
That's right.
so even the hospitals and so on come under pressure during that time.
Before you go though a minute, because we are depending on the fridge so much now.
Yes.
It's important that we make the most of the refrigerator without causing it to use more electricity. So some of us, like myself, we live in concrete space where you have, the windows are not as many as you'd like, so the house does get hot. You have to be careful about where your refrigerator is and how you position it. Don't push it too close to the wall. Leave space around
Circulation.
the
How are we doing with
refrigerator.
that, producer?
Yes.
That's what I'm
Leave
thinking.
space around the refrigerator for the air to circulate.
Average space. When you say leave space.
6 inches.
Well, about
You know-
about 6
Oh,
inches.
okay. Because you know those in the modern kitchens, you build that thing and you
Yes, you
slide
put
your
it in.
refrigerator
Yeah.
in. 6 inches.
We encourage you, wherever possible, do not put the fridge beside the stove because it has to work harder because of the heat. And for those of us who go to work every day and we say we're not using any electricity because we're at work all day,
Really, no?
we lock up the house tight, and the poor fridge has to work even harder
when
to
it
keep
is.
your things
So like, it's not like the fridge at work has a mind of its own.
well, it has no choice because it has to take care of your food.
Yes.
So that's its mandate. So it will do whatever is necessary if it requires
from all
pulling
resources.
right. So we know the security concerns why people lock up the house tight and all of that, but just bear that in mind.
Yes.
And if you can leave a window or so slightly cracked, to do that so that the fridge doesn't have to work so hard.
So this is not
More efficient.
necessarily but it really is, because even when you plant trees, you're serving the same cause. Insect screens, and grill at your windows, because this is a time when you need to be able to open your door and open your windows. Yeah.
Yes. So as long as it is safe, if you're sleeping higher up in on the top floor or
Yes, and you
elevated,
can
you can open your
open the
windows
windows.
without worrying about
Yeah.
security challenges.
But if you're afraid of lizard and roach flying in and insect and those things,
Some people are
put
scared
up a
like,
screen, get the mesh.
The
Yeah.
lizard come in.
They come in even with the mesh, I can tell you that.
What kind of lizards
Oh,
are
them
these?
side.
I don't know, but I
know.
see them and I have mesh, right? So
That means this will might not please you. There's a lizard colony well established in the house before you put up the mesh, and they are just continuing to replenish the
Multiplication inside of the house.
Absolutely.
But we
Yes.
have an understanding. They know that I don't need to see them. I don't want to see them. And if I don't see them, then I can pretend that they're not
Absolutely, they
there.
don't
So
exist.
there you go.
Wonderful. That is
But,
how man and
yes,
nature move
try and
together.
keep the windows open if you
yeah.
are
Circulating.
comfortable and it's safe,
And
because
it's safe.
that's where you get the air circulating in the house. For you, you're very, very budget conscious, and
Yes, I am.
we encourage everybody to be budget conscious. the mobile app actually helps. You set your budget and you monitor it. And what
It's on
some
the phone,
persons
you know?
and there is
You know, we both have
you have the app and
Yeah,
you're working
yeah.
and okay, great.
the
So you
phone.
can actually track your usage. This customer, she actually was sharing her own experience where she tracked her usage and she knows where she's at any point in the month, and she knows if she needs to adjust her behavior.
Yes.
So some of us
Wow.
we have a specific amount that we can spend and we can't go beyond that. So when we see the
When they
thing
get
going
close
close
to
to
it.
that, we are like, all right, let us get a little bit more vigilant about turning off the energy guzzlers. And trust me, we have them.
let's
Those-
remind the
What are the energy
guzzlers.
guzzlers? The one
Alright,
that eat up
Other
your
than the
money.
kids,
All right,
please.
let me talk about
Children.
the guzzlers.
Yes.
We have the vampires and we have the guzzlers.
Okay.
So the guzzlers are the ones that are high.
So what's
energy
worse? Which
users.
is worse, vampire or
Uh,
guzzler?
Well, the guzzlers, if not used properly, that's worse.
Become a vampire?
Right. So there's some of us who
Guzzlers?
the refrigerator is one.
It's a guzzler.
Yeah, yes, because it uses a lot of energy. In a general principle, the heating devices and the cooling devices tend to pull most.
So your iron.
Let's talk about the big ones. The refrigerator, the air conditioner, the deep
yeah.
freeze, because persons still have deep freeze. And you also
Gosh,
have
Noel. We're not doing well.
Did I say the electric stove?
No, you didn't
Yes,
say that.
that is one
Yeah.
that uses
Guzzlers are, come again.
because
Fridge.
the fridge, the AC,
The iron.
not just yet. It depends on how you use it, but the big ones, the fridge,
Yeah.
the AC, the
ones you use every day,
the electric
potentially.
stove,
The deep
and
freeze, you
the
said.
deep freeze, and your clothes dryer.
Okay.
Yes, you do have people who are using clothes dryer, even though we have
Yes,
because that's one of the
because
things.
that's how your house is set up and
Yeah.
it's convenience. And some of us will
Some
watch at
don't
3
have
o'clock in the
drying
morning.
yard.
There
Some
you
people
go.
have no place to dry their
Right.
clothes.
So it's there for your convenience, and when you work hard, you want to enjoy the things that you invest in. So we're not telling you to stop using them. What we're saying is use them efficiently. So with this stove, you do not need to keep the stove on for a long time, because the burner retains the heat. So you can, once your food get to a particular point, you just turn off the burner and the heat will complete the cooking. You just monitor your pot.
What are you
Really.
cooking?
It could be cooking rice, it could be cooking
Oh, yes.
vegetables.
Rice
Yes.
and vegetables.
And vegetables,
You need to-
even the ground provisions.
Yeah.
You can turn the stove off and the heat will continue to.
Especially if you're using a copper pot.
There you go. So just look at how you do it. And we
First give
recommend,
me a look.
it is generally recommended that you cook multiple dishes at the same time. And that maximizes the
One
efficiency.
cook. One cook.
Yes.
Instead of multiple
Yeah, so use four burners.
Yeah, and it's more efficient.
So, everything at
and-
one time.
Right. So you don't have to let the thing
Yes.
cool down and then go back.
Yes, and
So-
go back.
Right.
You need more than one pot.
Yes, you do.
It's for the people.
I'm sure you have one.
God help us.
And keep the pot closed so that you're not losing the heat. So that's the
Everything
general
helps.
principle.
Everything
Everything
helps.
helps. And with the clothes dryer, don't go with those tiny one piece of.
You're
garment.
delicate.
Yes, the single.
Clothes dry everything, man.
Yeah, the single. Just do a full load, a proper load, rather than just
Run
wash a
one
shirt
time,
and dry it
yes.
just because you're going out tonight and you need a shirt. Plan your thing, and that way you are much more efficient. I want to go back to the refrigerator for a
Yes,
bit.
please.
It is probably
I
the
have
most
a question
important.
for you
It's
there.
probably the most important item in your household right now. Make sure that the seal is intact, because
For your
sometimes
fridge?
for the fridge, right?
Refrigerator.
Yes. Because sometimes you're losing air and you don't
know.
I was visiting a friend recently, and she was complaining about this astronomical bill.
Because
She
you're
has-
visiting?
No, well, inevitably,
Just let me tell you,
the conversation come
Comes around.
talk
around.
about your job and they know what it is.
Right. But this
You
was
don't
a
go out
welcome
much.
conversation. Yeah, but I'm prepared for the conversations, and this one was really very helpful because I said, all right, what's happening with your fridge? Because that's usually the
Comes
first
to mind
place to
immediately.
start, especially
Yes.
if you have a fridge that's been around for more than.
And that's my question I want to ask
The
you.
older the refrigerator, even if it looks
it's
really
looking good,
nice,
yes.
it could be
Inefficient. Yeah.
and so you need to check it. But
Yeah.
when we checked her refrigerator, there was
See what's
air. There was a lot of air being lost, and you would not know from looking at the nice fridge. So I guarantee
You have to check
that
ours
as soon
again.
as she addresses that, and you can
You'll
replace
see
the
it.
seal.
Yeah. Or you can just replace the seal
and
buy a new
or you
fridge.
can buy a new fridge. We do recommend
Okay,
that you get a new fridge once it's past. It's about 12 years old. Just
Yeah.
pay close attention, and you will see the savings back in your reduced light bill. I guarantee, because I have seen persons. I've seen persons.
I'm checking the age of my refrigerator.
Yeah, man. But even before that.
It's about 4 years old.
No, man, you're good.
okay.
You're good. And you put a paper money. Nowadays we work with $1,000. You put that.
Okay, especially now that it's plastic. It won't get
So
wet.
if it comes out too easily, you might
Yeah.
be losing air. So you need
Yeah.
to you
You
can't
know
do
the check
Yeah.
that you use?
So-
Remember that check?
With the dollar bill. Yeah.
Was it
So the
true?
question I want to ask is, how often should you really change your refrigerator?
Well, it depends on what's happening with the fridge.
Yeah.
We ask you to start looking at it when it's about 12 years
12
old.
years old.
Just start checking it.
Is your fridge 12 years old or older?
Just start checking it.
Check it. Yeah.
To see if it's if things are missing in terms of the coils or whatever. You might need to get a professional to
each
look at
time we
this.
speak, I realize that there is a huge business opportunity for persons to work in that energy conservation area, producing seals, checking your equipment, the different things,
And
especially
doing energy audits.
and doing energy audits. And
Yeah, work.
is it a growing area? Are you seeing?
It is, but people have been doing this for a while.
Yeah, no, some
There
people
are a
are
lot of
energy
people
audits.
who are energy consultants, and they can.
Yeah, but a household and now go hire energy
No,
consultant.
you're
But
right.
you might want
But
somebody who can check your fridge.
Yeah, my electricians do that,
Just not because it popped down, but because you want to
The word
You
says.
know, doing some
an
practice
efficiency,
checking.
right?
Yes.
Yes.
You do have some very professional electricians and licensed electricians who do that. So just check around.
and your AC unit outside of servicing it
We've
full
talked about
time.
the AC
Yeah,
unit
because
that one, if it's not properly serviced, and sometimes you have to service it more often than
during
depending
the
on how
during
you
the
drive.
really
No?
hot months.
Yes,
No, yes.
So get a licensed professional to look at your appliances.
Do you keep registers of these persons? I mean, as JPS, I know you're not going to recommend.
Well, we work with them, obviously, but we wouldn't recommend. There is a listing at the Ministry of Energy
Electricians.
of
Yes.
licensed
Yeah.
electricians and licensed inspectors that you can, I think you can get
you can draw on.
information.
Yeah, because
I want to find out who the vampires are.
yes.
Oh, the vampires.
Oh, yes. Oh,
Those are
thank
the
you for
ones
reminding
that
me.
are quietly eating away at your electricity,
Sucking your blood.
your energy, right? And those are the small things like the microwave. You leave the microwave on, and the light is on. Anything that you leave with a light burning, that is a vampire. It's quietly sucking out your energy.
It's like mosquitoes sucking.
Let's talk about them.
That's
The
so-
microwave that's on with the flashing light telling you the time when you really don't need it to tell you the time. You might have the all of your entertainment.
So what you're saying,
your
plug out,
entertainment.
plug out, plug out?
Unplug, yes. The chargers, even your phone chargers left plugged in, they're drawing energy and they add up. Your game consoles, the things that you leave plugged in, the children, just
Talk about the TV and them things. They're not just.
so what we recommend is that you get the strip, one that is also a guard that will provide
Surge
protection.
protector.
Right. So you turn off. That's what I do. I don't unplug. I
Just
turn
turn
it
it
off
off.
so that all the lights are gone. and then just flick one switch and turn on when I get home so that I can.
But then that mean you have to have things in proximity, or
And
or you
yeah,
just,
yes.
just put something between the device and the plug.
Yes,
That's really what it sounds like.
And it's
So you
for
have to get many
convenience
of them,
because
yeah.
think about what unplugging multiple devices.
Yes, that's what I'm here thinking
So
about.
yeah, get something. We recommend the protector, the surge
Surge
protector, rather than just a strip.
Yeah.
Because there's a difference, a
Yeah.
big difference.
I like that.
Right.
Those
I'm
are
liking
versus
it.
vampire.
Vampires, the quiet sippers, with
Yes,
anything
yes.
with a light. Do you have in your terms of service, do you require us to put something like that between?
Yes,
Is
every
it-
utility, not just in Jamaica.
Yeah.
But the customer has a responsibility.
Look,
So in the
I'm
terms and
immediately seeing
yeah,
it.
in the terms and conditions of service,
Yes.
you do have a responsibility to make sure you protect your equipment.
So the reason I've asked you is because many people complain about a power surge or something damaging equipment, and many of us are bitter about the limitation on what kind of compensation JPS would typically provide by law. But as you were telling me about the strip, I saw that really, if the terms and conditions require customers to mitigate, then that alone
Yes.
is something that customers need to focus on a little bit more.
Yes, it's a joint responsibility.
Yes, yeah.
Anything behind the meter is your responsibility. So you need to make sure that once a year or at least once every 2 years, you have an electrician check your wiring and grounding. Because when you have surges, sometimes it's because there's a problem on your premises.
yes,
It's not necessarily, on the
coming
taking
from the
side.
grid.
So that's one of the points that we take into consideration.
Will you
when
come
we are
back and
confident.
we talk a little bit more about this joint responsibility?
We can,
I
yes.
feel like it's an area that we have not given enough attention, and it means that it's good to cost JPS, but it's better if you have
You
protected
know that you're
yourself
responsible.
and
Talk about that all the time.
understand,
Joint
yes,
responsibility.
where it
Definitely, it's an important
Yeah.
conversation.
Would you
So,
believe
yes.
it's been half an hour?
So, it was fun.
We're getting the signal.
That
We
is-
need to take
always
our
a
break.
pleasure.
I'm
Time
telling
goes
you.
really quickly.
Yes,
So,
it went by, and I still have much more I'd like to learn from you.
as
All right,
someone
let's
famously
see.
said, I shall return.
And he did return. So
You shall return.
promise. All right, our guest is Winsome Callum, Jamaica Public Services expert, and I suppose regional expert as well. Always a pleasure to speak with her. We're going to take our break and chat a little bit more with Winsome before she dashes off. We'll be
Thank you
right
so
back.
much.
welcome back. We had to say goodbye to Winsome. Always a pleasure to have her sharing with us. And I was not wrong in my description of her as someone who, when she speaks, we can go beyond just the narrow confines of a brief that you get, to
Because she
go
has
on
the
the
power,
radio
she has
and
the
say
authority.
she has
And
the
the experience
authority.
too. Which
Yes,
is, she's been
yes,
around.
the
as she
knowledge,
pointed
the
out.
experience, and so she can speak both from policy and from a depth of knowledge that is just amazing. So we ended up speaking with her on not just the bare bones of how to get more out of your refrigerator in order to control either your spending or your demand on electricity. We went a little further on some of the tips that she shared. I know, Percival, you have pulled up heat stroke. Don't take this thing lightly. Don't think that, boy, me can't spend no more on it, so me just so tough it out in the heat of the night or the day. You pulled up some of
Right. So
the
symptoms of
dangers.
heat stroke or heat exhaustion: heavy sweating, weakness or tiredness, cool, pale, clammy skin, fast, weak pulse. Okay. Muscle cramps, dizziness, nausea or vomiting, headache, fainting. So if you are experiencing any of those symptoms together, you're, you're probably too late. If you're having a persistent headache, or you've been fainting, or you have muscle cramps, dizziness,
Could be
weakness,
heat
or
exhaustion.
yeah,
And in children, we have to emphasize that children will overdo it on the best of days, and they don't readily acknowledge, the danger, the sunshine, especially those of us who love to tell the kids to go outside.
go try and play,
And
run up
play.
and down.
Yes.
And them, most of
Yeah.
them no like, most of them will do it, except there being a ship. Everybody on them tablet or them instrument. But
And well, now too, we are trying to get them away from so much of the technology, but we have to be mindful that both children and the elderly are especially vulnerable during this type of weather,
yes,
and they need to have plenty of water, to be hydrated. And we're not talking about sugary drinks. We're talking about just plain water. They need lots of water. And
water.
if they are in the heat stroke phase, you need electrolytes. So there are some common drinks: Pedialyte, coconut water if you can get it. Gatorade, I was trying to remember a common one. Gatorade, Lucozade. There are products that will restore some of the salts and the electrolytes that you lose from your body when you sweat a lot and you've lost elements, salts that your body need to function well. That's
That's
why the
important.
cramping will happen. You get muscle cramps, and they're painful and real, and you'll think you're having a heart attack or you've broken something or torn something. I've seen it. I remember seeing a lady who was at our house, couldn't move, like crippled.
except for
yeah.
stroke, heat exhaustion.
It was I don't know if it was, however it was dehydration.
Yeah, and it's
Yeah.
an important thing. 'Cause
Yeah.
I just remember that happened to mom, and he almost lost her.
To whom? To your
My
mom?
Yeah.
And the reason you take care of the elderly in a special way is because, do you know they forget to drink water?
No, that's what happened to her. She was not drinking enough water
They
in
forget
the
to
day,
drink water.
and then she hadn't eaten too, and then she. So, wow.
Yep.
She's there. She was by herself, and we kept insisting, "Hey, mom, you need to have somebody." She said, "Be all right, be all right." And then the Almighty almost became weeping and wailing for us.
For you, yeah, peace and joy for her when she's reunited with her father. But we have to be especially careful with children
and
and the elderly. And if you're a small family living in a small house, and as Winsome was saying, you're locked up tight trying to keep safe, the danger is not without, the danger can be within, because you're not getting enough circulation of fresh air, and your baby can just mysteriously begin to show signs of yes.
Holy power water.
Please remember that we're not gonna die from heat exposure. We live too long in the sun to let the sun kill
come
us. Yeah,
All right.
but it's also a great time for for use of your renewables. If you are using a solar power system, I mean, we have a solar water heater, and oh my goodness, the heat you get off that water,
Very hot.
very, very hot. It's very, very hot. But if you use solar power, this is a good time to beef up your
Battery.
capacity so that you can carry the weight of the additional use.
And maximize it.
Yeah. Interesting that Winsome is saying they have recorded their highest level of demand in 100 years of existence. The 14th of June was a record peak demand.
675
Yeah.
megawatt.
That was the demand on the day. I
Yeah.
didn't write down the number, but just to repeat for you that JPS has sufficient installed
1,000.
capacity nationally with the independent power producers on board. There is more than enough capacity if you have the capacity in your pocket to
People.
keep yourself as cool as you want to be, and open your fridge as much as you want to. They have the capacity. Still, of course, you know, we are conservationists. We believe in conservation in and of itself. It is easier on the environment, easier on your pocket too, but mostly we are protecting the environment. Your ability to afford to run your AC all night and all day, your ability to afford these things should not cause you to just let it run. Please, we got to conserve because all of us are responsible for the protection of our environment. And also, on a national economy scale, the more we consume electricity, the more we spend
Foreign
importing oil and
foreign exchange, yes.
foreign exchange expenditures increase. Therefore, as a matter of course, we should be conserving because we care what happens not just in our own homes, but in households everywhere. Enough said on that point, you think, Pastor Percival?
Yes, my dear lady. Yes, my dear lady. As we, you said Thursdays is our Fridays.
Yes.
And a lot has happened this week in terms of some of the principles we have shared with individuals in terms of ultimately coming to the place that you have the peace of God that will keep your heart and your mind. And you made a very important point that when you have the peace of God and you understand who He is and you trust in Him, then you are able to make decisions, the right decisions, so that at a later point in your life, you're not sitting in the wheel, in the chair, the rocking chair on one end. Oh boy, it has come back home to affect me. And so that's important. And somebody had said, when we speak about the peace of God, it says it's the harmony and calmness of body, mind, and spirit, trusting in the power and grace of God.
Of God.
Harmony,
Yeah.
harmony and calmness of body,
Mind and spirit. The
and that
three
is what
parts of your identity.
Shalom
Yeah.
in the power and grace of God.
The emphasis being on the power and grace of God.
Yes.
It is not based on man being at peace with you. It's not based on
Because of my
the absence of hostility and turmoil in your
That's not what peace
environment.
is. That's not-
It's all about
You.
you being at ease with God. If you get that, then it means that no matter what, you're in prison, you're at peace. You're lying on
I
the
was in peace.
yeah, you're lying in the hospital bed, you're at peace.
Yeah.
You're driving on the road in a winter or sandstorm or whatever kind of storm you might be going through. The environment is chaotic around you. You're at peace. It is possible. It is possible. I try to reclaim it every day because many things come to destabilize you.
Yeah.
But every time I go back to those basics, I find my peace. And I want you to find it also. Now, you wanted to just acknowledge that Lascelles Chin, 86-year-old, definitely a prince of the land in every way, even just his own story, because he wasn't born with a golden spoon or a silver spoon or whatever kind of spoon. Worked his way through all the different stages of life. Was laid to rest yesterday. What touches me is that the story that made the news is it's all about family.
Yeah, he was a family man.
Of everything that one may say about him, his children are describing him as a down-to-earth father, one who connected with them, and they certainly felt his love. And, you know, if you're fortunate, if when you are laid to rest, your children can say that of you.
Or if you're fortunate when you're alive, them can tell it to your face.
Yeah.
That, hey, daddy, you're rocking up.
Oh, so you rock.
Yeah, you rock, daddy.
So you got that already.
Me.
Yeah, or they could call you a gallus. You're even more fortunate
No, but
that you get a chance to fix that.
you fixed that before, so you don't have a wrong impression of that. No, but you know, as I reflect, you know, he's a person that on his own he set up a foundation.
Oh, speaking of Mr. Chin.
He
Yes.
set up a foundation, and then out of his resources, he honored the teachers and the nurses. To say, I appreciate what you are doing. Nobody is not doing it, but out of my resources, so they would, everybody who was, I think, the winner for each parish, because that's how they do it, working with the teachers as JTA and working with the nurses. And then out of that, they would have selected a teacher of the year, a nurse of the year, and they would not just be selected, they would get a nice little change, as we would say, to that appreciated the work that they were doing. So, if nothing else, his philanthropic release was very, 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 very important in terms of what he did. So he'll be remembered, and what he did, I remember, you know, if you remember what he did with Lasco brand, Lasco took on the other brand and said, no man, you can bring it to the people.
All right, I don't know much about the Lasco brand, and some of the things I knew about it, I don't want to talk about it. that he's gone. But suffice it to say, he has created an enduring business. But I love it that he's remembered as a down-to-earth dad.
I think them did love
His children loved him and he loved them.
the icicle and the popsicle.
So that's beautiful. All right, Pastor, we're moving rapidly towards 9:30. And you did want to talk about some of the movements on the political landscape, what it means, and how, I guess, what did you want to say about it?
No,
I'm going to go back to the story because I had pulled it
what
up
you sow is
from
what you
yesterday.
reap.
Oh, that's where you are.
And what you sow is what you reap.
Who you addressing that to now? Because everybody
Anybody,
store,
it's a-
everybody reap.
It's a principle. What you sow
How
is
does
what-
that relate to the poll, Mr. Percival?
You sow is what you reap. Fool me one time. You remember some of our people call and reflect on Clark's and the gimmickry and saying, boy, you know, the chickens are coming home to roost because they had the gimmickry, Clark's, Bogart, all the thing. And then to see somebody coming and saying, you know, those people are out there using AI and fooling up the labor rights. But remember, last election, you know, the social media presence, man.
Me not following your comments as well as I normally do it because you seem to be stitching together something like the emperor's clothing. I'm not seeing the fabric.
No, I'm saying over time.
Yes.
Because a year ago,
Yes.
if we are to believe what the polls said, and a year ago the same person did the polls, and it had them shell whacking the PNP. Okay?
Shellacking.
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 Shellacking, but me put whacking. It's
He created a word
shell whacking. They were being whacked.
with a shell.
Yes. And 1 year, the same person has done the same poll. And you are saying, boy, devious, fictitious.
All right, so let's get the highlights of the poll. All right. The findings of the survey commissioned by the PNP and conducted by the Don Anderson-led team shows, with a margin of error of plus or minus 3%, that if elections were called today, 30.2% of Jamaicans would vote for the PNP, while 25% would vote for the governing Jamaica Labour Party. In February, a similar PNP Commission poll conducted by Anderson and his team had shown both parties in a statistical dead heat. The PNP at 28.1 and the JLP at 27.9. So the PNP was a touch ahead, but statistically that's a dead heat. A year ago, an RJR Commission poll had shown the JLP leading by a massive 13 points, with 31% support compared to 18% for the PNP. You notice the similarity in the number? It's 30% support for the PNP now, where it was 31. Are the same people, you know? It was 31 for the JLP a year ago. Now it's 30 for the PNP. The PNP was at 18% at the time, and today it is the JLP who is at 25%. So really, it is that the JLP is falling.
They're in a free fall.
The PNP is not necessarily rising, you know. JLP
That's what they
is
said.
falling. Yes, yes. Anderson said the apparent awakening of the PNP's base accounts for the pep in the party's step. It's not new people they're getting. It's their regular people who had fallen asleep are now stretching and waking up in the summer heat.
And he makes an important point.
I keep making the point that divided parties don't win elections. And one of the first things the PNP would need to do is to portray a greater degree of unity. There is Mr. Anderson using his expertise and the numbers to tell the PNP what everybody has been saying to them. Build one house.
One house to one.
One house.
One house to
Because
one.
if you are at one, then the other side only need to fail. You don't actually need to win. Do you know that?
Mm-hmm.
If the other side fails, you take home a victory. So this is Anderson making his comment to the Gleaner when he was asked how the PNP could capitalize on its momentum. There is no question, he says, that government has lost a lot of its shine. And if you look at history, between 2011 and 2020, some 160,000 persons fewer voted for the PNP. So PNP have 160,000 people
You come back
who
home.
need to come back home.
You have come
Over
back
the same period, the JLP lost 4,000, he noted. In the 2011 general election, the PNP won 42 seats to the JLP's 21. Ooh, look at 50%. Or you'd say then 100%. By 2020, the JLP had 49 and the PNP 14. So the PNP was in a steep decline. The glaring difference, Anderson noted, was the number of persons who voted for the PNP in 2020 compared to 2011. And he goes through a very worthy discussion of the numbers. But if you were to
Really?
look at the hard position now, what are you pulling from this?
The people are still disinterested, dissatisfied.
So you're now speaking of the 79% or
63%.
or the 63%,
Who not in
whatever,
anything.
who, yes,
Not in anything.
still not engaged. You're still not seeing them. Yeah.
So they just, and that speaks to law of the Medes and Persian. People saying we need a law of the Medes and Persian that guides everybody. So we know that, okay.
When
So
we set sail,
yeah.
we don't change course depending on who wake up and take
Take the,
charge of the wheel.
who turn on the wrong side, who get up on the wrong side, of the bed
Yeah.
and decides what they're going to do and say, but how does that relate? And you know, that situation with Mr. Bernard is just indicative of governance in our country it is reflecting not so good on the JLP and when they're in government. But it's something wrong with that, man. You know what, you hear what I'm saying, man? That's something you create a what? You go to parliament. You set in the civil service order a super what it is? The what was the first one?
Oh, which one? Are we talking about
Bernard.
The supernumerary.
The supernumerary,
Supernumerary permanent secretary.
But before that, we had the what?
The ambassador plenipotentiary.
What is
They're
the name
teaching
of
us
it?
new words.
What is that?
We get to learn new secrets of government through this administration. But I'm looking here at something that Don Anderson has said, trying to understand if this is really what he's conveying, that never has he done a poll anywhere where the result was so dramatically different. 53% of persons believe the country is heading in the wrong
I saw it
direction.
yesterday, yeah.
And in February it was 44%. Last June it stood at 51%. No, I'm reading the wrong thing. It's unclear. There's a conversation, there's some point being made about what percentage of the electorate is undecided about whether to vote. The June poll shows that some 44.8% of the electorate remained undecided or do not intend to vote. And this was a slight increase from the 44% in February. Last year, June, that figure was at 51%. So last June, 51% were undecided.
No, it has come down.
It has come down.
Yeah, some more people are.
In February, it was at 44%. In June, it's 44.8%. And we are being saved by the bell. I'm going to finish reading it. When I come back, we'll get Pastor's closing comments on what this means for our nation.
Welcome back.
Yes, I gave Percy some shocking insight during the break. Never mind him, he'll get over it. He has the peace of God.
Tell me about it, sister.
So, when you know some of the backstories to what goes on, the level of corruption in this nation requires surgical intervention.
What's the word?
Supernumerary.
No.
Which one?
Subterfuge.
Subterfuge?
Subterfuge.
Oh,
right.
subterfuge.
Sound like
Yeah.
spy
It sound
story.
like- yeah, man,
Sound
I'm
like
gonna-
a spy story.
When even if we're gonna do a documentary,
Subterfuge.
we have to tell our own story.
No, sir.
We have to tell our own story and name names and take no prisoners. Anyway, so the PNP has very graciously said that they've seen the trend. It has continued over a 12-month period, but they are not going to sit on their laurels. Very well said. Now, who knows what a laurel is?
You know that coming back from. I know it is a car actually. No,
Yeah, there's a car named Laurel.
Yes,
True?
yes.
This is, it's a flower
Yes. And they
that was
will
used to do the victor's crown.
crown, right? So they're not gonna sit.
Yes.
Well, you know, and I'm sure a lot of young people in this Lawrence, what is that? We know because we used to read a lot of Greek mythology and,
Yeah,
and
but
something. We know what a laurel is, but
Yeah, but
like you're preaching some of the times and you're going, the victor's crown and he led captivity in his train.
Yes.
And them say, what are you talking about? You have to go and explain. Because Paul writing then understood clearly, but people say now.
But this was a quote, I'm trying to see who said it.
It must be
That they're not
Campbell.
gonna sit on. No, sir, Dayton don't speak like that. That's more a Mark Golding type of comment.
Or it is, or a
Yeah.
Burke Brown.
No, she
or
don't
Mia-
speak like
or-
that either.
Yeah,
Mia Motley.
yeah.
Hey, why are you bringing in Mia Motley?
No, there's another one in who's the head of the PNP. What's her name? The one who's the
Oh
head
gosh,
of the,
I'm trying to find out who said. I think it was credited to Mark Golding. Actually, it's a very literary comment. It's someone who has read the classics and has had time to indulge in those kinds of fantasy reading.
you call it fantasy? I enjoyed reading those
That's
things.
still fantasy reading. You had plenty
Aesop's
to
Fables,
you had plenty to
Aesop's
hide from.
Fables. Oh, no, I didn't.
You told me your father was an alcoholic.
No,
I mean, we use literature to retreat
Retreat
from
from-
reality,
yeah.
don't we? So I read it because I had plenty to hide from.
Oh, so you throw it on project it on me now.
Yeah, so I understand. I'm empathetic.
You're empathetic.
But am I wrong? Lest anyone think I'm throwing
no,
shade.
No, I
Did you not read more than the other kids around you because
Because I love reading.
you found refuge? We who love reading is because we take peace and we find solace in reading, especially fictional works. Anyway, I did not mean to disparage your troubled childhood.
No, man.
You're not, still not taking me on. I call it troubled childhood. My childhood was slightly troubled. Which, by the way, may I just say happy birthday to my sister Mitzi? I know
Yesterday or
I told
today?
her happy birthday yesterday,
But today?
in my defense, I also said that I'm always a
late.
day early or a day late.
Yeah.
I was a day early. So yesterday, my other sister sent me, you know the leaf in the Bible where your parents write down the birth of the children? My dad wrote down the birth dates of his 12th picnic
in his Bible.
in his Bible.
Okay.
And I think she had it. She
took a picture of
So
it
she
and
sent me a copy. She said, "You will never do this again."
Oh my Lord.
I think Mitzi is child number 5 of 12. Yes. She's child number 5 and her birthday is there and it is the 29th of June. And I love her to pieces. She was just one of the most fun, loving big sisters you could ever imagine.
She was
Later
always
in life,
getting
she
into
became an
trouble.
ardent Seventh-day Adventist. Not nearly as much fun as she used to
Leave
be,
the lady alone.
but still completely lovable. And she stopped cooking pork, which is a loss to the world.
And
If
she
that
cooks it
lady
so well.
cooks stew peas or anything from the pig, you don't look back. She stopped cooking pork, stopped eating pork. So I know this is a birthday greeting.
Just stop it. I just cut it. Leave your sister alone.
So I don't,
Oh, my
don't need to go
Lord.
into mourning. And she makes the most amazing fried dumplings.
Okay.
Oh, you're fortunate if you can get. You know what? When she owes me a visit. She owed me a long visit.
So when she comes,
When
she'll
she
fry
come
fried dumpling and
after
cook
she
the
has
pork for
rested.
you.
No, man, I don't press her to cook pork.
Okay.
But when I was, growing up, when Mitzi visited, man, when she arrived, it's like when your mom comes. With all of us run out of the house and greet her and grab her bag and hug her up and trying to tell her everything. And she has such a great sense of humor.
That's the one I met.
No, you haven't met her.
I haven't met that
But all
one.
my sisters are hilarious.
Except you.
Thank you for that.
You are hilarious. You think you're going to walk through the door. You're not getting away today. You are hilarious.
I come from a long line of comedians. They're highly comedic. Mitzi can give you a punchline like no one. She could teach you, how to deliver
That's why I want to
your
meet her.
stories.
That's why I
I'll
want
make
to
sure
meet
you
her.
meet her. I'll make sure you meet her. I love her. Love her, love her, love her, love her. And I wish her the happiest of birthdays. I announced it yesterday, but you know what? That was a practice run.
But if you start to say, no, you're not
Is
going to
it-
do it. So you have
yeah.
the picture now. So you know when everybody...
I have it, yes.
When everybody born.
And it's so funny because one of my brothers, my father wanted to name him Marty Robbins. There's some great singer or actor or whatever.
Marty Robbins,
Marty
yeah.
Robbins. Well, my father didn't realize that his dream to name this child Marty Robbins had been defeated until said son was getting married.
Discover that thing.
Him only named Robin. My mom dropped off the Marty.
Oh,
so
Jesus.
in the Bible, it's written as M. He said, when you have baby out of your body, you can't give him that name.
Oh, Lord.
He's Robin. Robin is arriving in Jamaica today. And I told him to, if he can, to just drop by the club because
Right.
there's a graduation taking place tomorrow and he's visiting the island for it. So,
Awesome.
yeah, those are the stories.
You will not do this again, and it is not that you keep missing your sister's birthday because now you have it in
So-
black and white.
But here's what I remember about her birthday. I remember that I always get it wrong. And so whatever date I pick is between the 28th and the 29th. I'm waffling within this space. Any date I pick, I immediately doubt myself and say I always get it wrong.
So that means you fail that exam. I doubted yourself. You're going to an exam and you second guess yourself. You get it right the first time, but you second guess yourself. That's what happened to you.
Yeah, but no, you're focusing on the wrong end of the horse. You
horse,
need to let go of that end.
The horse?
You need to let go of that end of the horse.
Which horse?
What I remember is that I usually get it wrong. So the moment, that's your significant memory. It's like, somebody tell you, buy a red ink pen. Don't buy blue ink, I want red ink. When you go to buy the pen, all you remember is blue ink. You don't remember.
That's what I'm saying. So
You don't-
stop second guessing yourself.
Yeah, you don't remember. It's how the instruction is given. I don't know why I got confused. Suffice it to say, Lowell has it right in his phone because I think we have this debate every year as I wake up on the 28th and start to call her. And we eventually said, no, we're going to write it down.
And
And
you wrote it down.
yeah, but it's funny. I have it in my phone too.
Mm-hmm.
But because I wake up on the 28th with her in my thoughts, I just press on. I believe she was born on the 28th. Her mother recorded it as the 29th. But in the spirit, I know it's the 28th. Oh,
well.
boy.
Oh, well. What do we say to these
It's
things?
Free Flowing Thursday.
What do we say to these things? We leave it alone. But as we're coming to the end of the program today, it has been a very... We leave it alone.
What is that? That's in the slips.
Leave it alone. If you don't get caught in the slip,
Don't get
make it
caught
gone,
in
make
it,
it
yeah.
pass. Leave alone.
No,
I know
but-
some man leave alone for pretty. You see him got pretty, and it was leave alone. And it pretty. Lawrence, so you used to do that well.
All right. Let us
Yeah. Go on.
let us end on a on a sober note. Taki has made a comment here concerning the polls.
Yes.
Because we're reading the pulse of our nation, and like it or not, the politics matter. He says, interesting times in the politics of assessment. Mark is being bashed for being non-reactive. Yet that could be a tool he has up his sleeves to make a surprise. And that is yet to be seen. I love the hopefulness of it. He's playing pause up. staying positive. Have a great weekend too, everyone. Thank you for joining us this morning. I know it's a little frustrating for those who like to call. Percy and I just dominate the whole time. But
We have some
thankfully
interesting
today,
guests.
yes, we had our guests from JPS. And I hope you take very seriously that this year is shaping up to be one of the hot, well, not one of, the hottest.
Yes,
So
100
far, JPS has already experienced peak demand, highest ever in 100 years of existence. On the 14th of June, we have to take care of our health more than anything else. Forget the pocket. If you're not alive, the pocket won't matter anyway. Let's make sure that we stay healthy, we guard our health, we stay hydrated for the summer, we keep a special watch over the children and the old people. Visit them, make sure them drinking water, and the ice box is your new best friend.
Your
My
igloo.
sister have about 3 igloos
She does
because
take
there's
it
a
igloo.
whole culture of partying with an igloo. I don't know, maybe it became even more popular during the pandemic when you had to just get together where you can and have your ice box with you. But the igloo or the ice box is your new best friend. Keep your water, your little juice packs, whatever it is you have for the children and for your senior citizens. Let's make sure that we take care of each other as we go through this season. For myself and the crew here, thank you very much on air and online. Earl Brown, thank you for shouting us out. And I don't know who wears a white sport coat and a pink carnation. Would that be my dad, maybe? And a pink carnation. Oh, it's from a song. Oh,
You know,
well, that just either it aged me or it shows my lack of knowledge
Knowledge.
on music.
But
yeah.
we close with the peace of God.
Yes, that
Because
pass.
it all understand. Keep your heart and your mind. Keep it stayed on. Have a wonderful weekend.
Yes. Thank you, Lloydie, back at studio. Have a great weekend, everyone.